Inland Empire.
No, yeah.
No.
Not
Highland Empire.
You had it right the first time.
Highland Empire.
High Inland Empire.
I'm Josh.
I'm Ryan Hensley, and we are Human Intelligence News. So the high actually kind of makes sense. So high, like H-I, like our logo. See it? For me?
Hi.
Hi. Anyway, so here's our story.
Yeah. Look, introduce yourself. You go first.
I'm Ryan Hensley. I've lived in the Inland Empire the majority of my life. I've lived in Highland, San Bernardino, Rialto, Riverside, Corona, and somewhere else. Here, on the map. I looked it up after.
That's thoughtful.
Yeah, so
Keen.
That's how you do an insert shot.
I like it. Very professional of you.
Well, I'm
Newsworthy.
thinking ahead because I've already edited our first piece.
Nice.
And, well, yeah. Okay. In addition to that, I've been performing music in the Inland Empire for the majority of my life.
And comedy. You were part of an improv troupe for several years.
Made
a full-length feature that spread throughout much of the Inland Empire, actually.
And parts
Driving Bill crazy if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, that's true. All of it's true. And all out of the Inland Empire, you'll see locations that were in the Inland Empire all through the movie. And we kind of did that on our lowdown, so don't call anybody.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was
Who
a
needs
great
permits anyway to shoot?
We did it real quick, and we always had a van. So one of those great adventures, and happy to say that it's definitely grown up with my ability to do a 3-camera shoot. Ha!
So what other experience in the Inland Empire have you had? Like, what's your relationship? What got you here? I guess is
I had to do this because overall nobody's really covering the local Inland Empire frontline stuff, like what is affecting us in the IE. In kind of a lighthearted way, so you don't have to hear all the bad stuff all the time. It doesn't seem fair that a town or an area that's kind of sometimes down in the dumps keeps on getting kicked around in the national media. It's just not.
Well, and we have so much potential here. So people ignore the potential here, and this is one of those areas that if you sleep on it, you're going to be the one at fault. Actually,
yeah. 4.5 million people live in the IE, and that's half the size of New York City, which represents 10% of our national GDP. We have an enormous potential. Josh, you've been living in Joshua. What would you like to be called?
Whatever you feel like.
No, whatever you want to. This is your...
Call me Josh.
Okay, Josh.
Josh.
You're a good guy, this guy.
Yeah.
So, Josh, tell us about yourself. I mean, I know just so much. But...
All right. So, basically, I grew up in San Bernardino, Hesperia, high school at Cajon, whatever. So, yeah, I'm from the Inland Empire. I went to UCR for my college years. And I ended up going to college because I ended up with a stint in Canada working with the Prince of Pop, Mark Emery, and worked for him for a while with the BC Marijuana Party, where that's where I got my political wings from. We tried being a legitimate party, which essentially had kind of a libertarian twist.
Sure.
Anyway, while I was working there, one of the American refugees from the American drug war ended up stuck in Canada, and that's where I got to know the scientist named Steve Tuck. He's currently the science director over at Weed Maps right now, but before that, he was one of the American refugees along with Steve Cubby and Rene Bourget.
Oh, nice.
And I believe there was another person also.
Okay.
Anyway, so basically I got to meet him and understand what the importance of science was, which I didn't learn in my earlier years in, San Bernardino. So once again, I got excited about it, moved back to California and started getting my science degrees. So I got a associate's degree first, and then a bachelor's, and then a master's eventually. Mm-hmm. And while getting my degree, I actually got a really odd experience around when I started with my bachelor's degree.
Okay.
I started working a company, One Legacy.
Yes, this is like right around when I met you. Or
yeah,
like
so
right around,
so One
right
Legacy is a organ and tissue harvesting company, right?
legitimate stuff. We're not talking.
Sorry, not
back,
harvesting.
Yeah.
Organ and tissue procurement organization.
Right.
They don't like the other phrase to be used.
Yeah, but it essentially it helped a lot of people through legitimate means by taking tissues and other means off. Off of the legitimately deceased.
Yeah, off the
they weren't
recently
like
deceased.
clubbing people.
No.
No.
Nor do they.
I needed that liver, so no, we're not Frank Underwood.
No. Yeah. No, we're not going there yet.
Oh wait, that was his assistant. Yeah,
we'll cover that later. Anyway, so I worked with One Legacy for a while, which gave me a really interesting look at San Bernardino and Riverside.
Sure.
I got to go to the coroner's office on a daily basis,
Okay.
and actually get to go through and see who died of what every single day.
So this is just a random sampling of the population.
No, not random.
No,
not
okay.
random.
So
a complete sample.
A complete. Like,
so
sampling
basically,
of what areas did you get bodies in from?
So basically, we would go to the San Bernardino County and the Riverside County Coroner's Office,
okay,
and we would go through every single death every single day, and then rule out possible donors and not possible.
So
donors.
you saw how every single
person died.
How
every
everyone
died.
legitimate. Oh wow.
Exactly, and it makes you look at what they report on the news differently. And this is one of the things I keep going back to. Is what we see on the news isn't really the news.
Sure.
It's more like the things that rarely happen.
And we feel that. That's where we get this kind of fake news, I think.
Exactly.
Legitimately gut feeling, especially in our area, because we don't hear our news.
Well, yeah, and you look on the news and the world is ending, and then you look outside and it's sunshine and rainbows.
It's
you
hot.
know what I mean?
Well, it's sunshine.
Well, sunshine especially. But so this is where my point comes from, is that I was working at the coroner's office and working for several years there, so I really got a good sampling of what happens on a daily basis, and I realized that most murders are ignored. Only interesting murders are reported. Most deaths are always ignored.
So there's only a segment of murders. Oh wait, I've heard of this before. You're talking about just like the affluent neighborhoods murders are the ones that are reported. Is that?
Well, not even that. It's like if they reported every gang murder that happened in San Bernardino County, that happened every single day, it's no longer news. Nobody's going to listen to a news agency that reports.
And we don't have a news thing.
And we don't even have that.
Yeah,
so we depend on outside sources to be able to report on that. Right. And they're not going to report on one death. One murder is not interesting. They want big things. This is why the last big story to come out of San Bernardino was the massacre, and that's not what we want to be known for, right? Like
it's not even close to what the whole history of the IER. We've been around for almost 200 years.
Yeah, well, in San Bernardino was the apple of the Inland Empire's eye. Like we were the growing like upstart county. We were really a beautiful thing. Like when the gold rush was going on, and then when Palm Springs became popular, like San Bernardino and Palm Springs were part of the big movie star thing.
And then later, Lake Arrowhead.
Yeah, Arrowhead has the giant resort and the hot springs.
Right, Big Bear has some of the best skiing in the world.
Yeah, so historically, San Bernardino really had some positive things, but now people kind of ignore it like it's yesterday's news.
Right.
But it shouldn't be, honestly.
Well, and if it's not yesterday's news, just like all the other news, it's bad news, which we're going to touch on, but we're trying to go ahead and go a little bit deeper and a little bit lighter. Actually, both.
Or darker sometimes.
And just cover what's going on.
Yeah, and honestly, I would really like to also cover like some of how people are really dying.
How you're dying, how people are dying is so interesting.
To me, this is really important because people kind of ignore
other than
things.
murders. Okay, so let's go back to this. Other than murders, that are being misreported in the overall media, especially in the national media. Let's go into like how are some of the
if you listen to mass media, everyone's dying from mass murdering, killers that are going in and just murdering multiple people
train
every
accident,
day.
A plane crash.
Yeah, it's very extreme. Okay, so in reality, the biggest death toll on a daily basis of people that are not expecting to die, so people of average age, is cars. So if you really want to,
especially our freeways,
if you really want to regulate something that's dangerous and killing everybody, you put more restrictions on who's allowed to drive and not allowed to drive.
Okay,
because that's what's killing more people than anything right now. especially people that are healthy. So
and it's better now than it was.
Oh yeah,
right?
the
It's
safety
still vastly
regulations.
improved,
It's
but
way
people
better.
are still just dying on the roads.
It's still the most dangerous thing you can have. I mean, you're handing a 17-year-old a 2-ton weapon. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I don't trust a 17-year-old me.
I was
driving a car.
I was
you
late.
know what
I didn't get a license until I could afford to buy a car.
Yeah, same here. So 18-year-old me.
So how does like knowing stuff like how people die in the area and how people die in our sampling and your sampling that you have in Riverside and San Bernardino County, how do you think that affected your opinion overall of the area and your position in it? Like you've got like some history here.
Well, first off, it showed me a window into what we pay attention to is very important here.
Yeah.
And secondly, it showed me that we worry way too much about these other things, and there are important things we should be paying attention to in our own community.
Sure, at least in your opinion. I mean,
at least in my opinion,
not speaking for other people, but
well,
you've got a little more information than most.
Well, and ultimately, if you look on the bigger picture, even you realize that local politics is where everything begins.
Yeah.
And if people would spend more time caring about what's happening locally and what's happening locally in their politics, the rest of the nation will look entirely different as soon as that happened. And so that's kind of what the goal here is.
We'll be right back after this bit from the RTA.
Oh yeah, RTA, they like us.
Well, not yet. They haven't even seen us.
They'll love us.
Something terrible has happened.
What's going on?
They kidnapped my groceries.
What?
They already killed the Karen.
It's the mob. That's what they do when they're serious.
So how's the new place?
My roommates are dicks.
Your room.
Get in there, dude. They have a party every night that starts the second I turn off the lights and go to bed. What the fuck? Your son! What the fuck? This party sucks! And now everyone's flashing their headlights at me.
It's one of my favorite bits. They swung around the motherfucker and think everybody in the world's doing it.
Motherfucker car!
That's Bill. He's our next project.
I
think you're going nuts. I think you need to take some of those pills you got.
I don't even know what it does.
I'm picking out! I shouldn't have taken that pill! I have a therapist. He practices pain therapy. Doc, I had another one of those killing fantasies.
You're as nutty as a squirrel turd.
You know how I feel about squirrels.
That is a fucking fried rat. We smoked so much we got sponsored.
Remember that, kid. If you want to get sponsored at home, you gotta smoke a lot.
What do they get out of it? Identity theft?
No.
Stupid. If you only knew how many times I've killed you in my mind.
Who gave you alcohol?
I got it from Oktoberfest.
It's not in October.
It is in Germany. You know what this is?
That's a bong.
Actually, our sponsors would prefer that you call it a water pipe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, use your finger.
For painting?
Water.
My work, been changing the name on my work shirts. Fuck it.
Tonight, we dine on Spray!
What do you want to kill? What? Hitchhikers? Clowns? That hooker said you had a small penis.
Are you a informer? Are you a gangster? Are you miss murder in a rasta? This not top your plate.
I hate ninjas!
Are you a informer? Are you a gangster? Let's not play hard ballet.
I said ninjas! Ninjas!
What? Ninja! Not nigga ninja.
Let's not play